Trey back in the lineup tonight, just what is that going to mean just to have him back out there?
Trey? Just obviously another weapon, versatile player, playing at a high level. He just raises our level, our standard, our ceiling. Just a tremendous basketball player, high IQ. Obviously the spacing as well. They're going to have to guard him in that space and figure out what they want to do with him there. So, but a tremendous year to this date. But just to have him back in the lineup, just the energy, the vibe, the spirit, the competitiveness, the belief. I know he's happy to be out there with his brothers.
And any update on Z if he's going to be able to go?
I believe he's getting worked on right now, and we'll have an update here soon.
Talked a little bit about it last night, but you had 58 rebounds as a team. Is that the type of collective effort that you need to really make your team as successful as it can be?
For us, the possession game is massive. We're trying to turn our defense. I think over the last month, we've seen a significant turn in our defense, and a big part of that, and the growth area is still the defensive board. Obviously adding more size to the lineup has helped. DeAndre's been a major factor. It's pushing Z to rebound more, Fears to rebound more, just a collective mindset of go get the ball. They get one shot tonight, and that's it. There is no second chance opportunities. So as we've called it, it's a gang rebound. We don't care who gets it, but we got to go get those tonight. But a lot of that has to just do with our size and the ability to go get it and dominate the glass right now.
James, good to see you. You mentioned DeAndre. What impact has he had on Zion and Derek and the rest of the group in practices, games, behind the scenes?
He hasn't played a minute, and he had a massive impact on our program. He elevated our program tremendously. His leadership, he's a grown-up in the room. He's won at a high level. He has a high standard. He's the first one to show up, Pre-game, he does his work. And then you add the leadership piece. He's wrapped his arms around the vets. He's wrapped his arms around the young guys. He's had a massive impact in our locker room. And so I can't even put that into words. And then you add now, there's something to it though when you're playing and you're not just a piece in the locker room. There's a difference now. And now there's a little bit more validity to what he's doing. There's a little more bite to his, to what he's saying now, because he is playing, because he is impacting the game. He's defending at a high level. He's raised our bar defensively. The rim protection, the rebounding, the goal line stand, as I call it. He's taken a stand in our paint, which is something that we needed to do as a team. He has done that. He's brought us an edge and a physicality about us. And then he's a tremendous communicator, and I think that's what we're trying to get our young guys to develop more, is the ability to communicate. And especially for bigs, it's a massive, to be any, to look like a good defense or be a good defense, you have to talk, and especially from that 5 spot. And he does it well as anybody. And as he has told me, he didn't have that when he came into the league. He learned that over time. He had some vets that helped him and coaches that helped him and pushed him. And he became one of the best communicating bigs, that I've ever seen and been around. There's been a couple others that I can probably point to. And I think that's rubbing off on our young guys. You've seen the jump Missy has taken this year. DeAndre's had a big part of that. Queen, his growth as a rookie, he's had tremendous impact. Carlo, same thing. I think a lot of these guys can point right to DeAndre. So I could keep going on, but he's been fantastic for us.
That communication part that you mentioned, what goes into making that a habit?
It is a habit, bottom line. Like, you have to actually do this in practice. And I think as coaches, we always say, hey, guys, talk. We need you guys to talk. But we're the ones talking in practice. It's the coaches that you hear. You walk into some gyms and you go, well, it's the only people talking are the coaches. You almost have to force these guys to say, nobody's talking. And we do this in our gym. Nobody talks except the players. And especially the bigs. You almost have to build the habit in. And as I always tell them, if they don't do it in practice, they're sure not going to do it in the game. So it's a habit that we have to build every single day. Some of that's recognition of what's about to happen. So I need to know what I'm going to say, but I got to recognize the action that's about to happen, communicate the call, communicate the coverage. You're the back line of the whole thing. You see it coming. You got to communicate to those guards who are on the ball. So it's a little bit of anticipation. And then the voice, we're trying to beef up the voice a little bit. Some of our guys got a little quiet voice. You know, you got to beef up that voice. It sounds like a small thing, but when you're in the heat of battle, you got to speak up. You can't have a, you know, quiet voice there. You got to speak up. So we're working on those things, but DeAndre has been a massive piece of that in our practices, especially.
James, with respect to Zion, he's played more games consistently this year than I think at any stretch in his career. What have you seen from him? What's different, and how's he fitting into everything that you're doing?
Well, number one, give our performance team, his team, a lot of credit. You know, he has bought into that group. He has found a group that he trusts, believes in, including our staff. They have kept him healthy all year, and that goes back to the summertime. I think him working on his body, building that trust with his coaches, both internally and externally. Belief in this team, wanting to be here, wanting to be around these guys. There's an element of care factor that I've seen at a much higher level for him this year than I've ever seen before. And that's in his work, how he shows up, how he prepares, his body, his mind. Those are all things that I could probably boil it down to as he's raised his professionalism. And I'm extremely proud of him that he's taken it to another level. And now it's about sustaining it, and there's another level to get to. But I think the number one thing is being available. But it's not going to just happen overnight, especially for someone that plays at that type of speed and power. You have to put attention on your body and prepare it to last 82 games and beyond. So very proud of him.
Hey, James, so you're right. Looking at the fact that you coached Kawhi or was on the Spurs staff where Kawhi was really ascending 10 years ago, how do you compare that ascent when you was with the Spurs to how Kawhi has played this season, given that he's had some of the highest scoring totals of his career and one of the largest workload totals of his career as well?
Well, he was always a great worker. When I was around him early on, his primary role was to guard and defend. He was a high-level defender. But every day you could see him working on his shot, working on his game, his pull-up game, his finishing game, his three-point game. Was not as polished back then. Now he's at an elite level, but you could see the signs of that starting. You could see the vision or the path for that because of the work ethic he had. And I think the Spurs, that Spur world culture, professionals that he was around really taught him how to work. He had an internal drive, I think, anyway. But then you add, what he was around in San Antonio, I think that raised his level. And, as I always say to our players, there's nothing, development is so important, but the best development or teachers, being around great players, guys that understand the next level, greatness, how to work. And he was very fortunate to be around that early in his career. And to his credit, he has just stacked years on top of that. And you look at him now, he's one of the elite players. But offensively, to me, is where he is just taking another jump. The three-level scoring, the off-the-dribble stuff, his playmaking as well. I think that's another level that he's taken his game to, is just making the right play, the simple play. You could see, again, the signs of that early on, but he's added that element to his game. But defensively, he's been elite, I think, since I saw him early on. He had a knack to guard one-on-one, special player, and, I'm really proud of him, too, just to watch his career, his development. So, tremendous basketball player. Good? Thank you.